1. Welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. My goodness me, do we keep bringing the big names on this show, and no bigger than the man that's joining us today. Free agent, of course, but he's been everywhere, multiple time champion, Bullet Club, any club, the OG club, whatever club you want to call him. He's here on the show. It's the big LG, Luke Gallows. Good evening or afternoon to you, sir.
Yes, Adam, thanks for having me on Hitting the Turnbuckle. Excited to be here. So let's get rocking and rolling, man. What's going on with you?
Let's get rocking and roll. We're fresh off an Exodus Pro Wrestling weekend. I've had inundated with
Excellent.
messages. Yeah, so big thanks to EC3 and everyone. Messages have been crazy that we've been got since the weekend. So it's been busy, just like yourself. Luke,
Yeah.
speaking of that, free agency. Look, you are still,
Yes.
well, as far as I know, anyway, a free
hmm
agent in the world of wrestling. But is now, I suppose now, maybe more so than a decade ago, is it a good time or is there never a good time to be a free agent?
I think it's a blessing. It's a great time to be a free agent. We're busier than we've been in the last few years. I mean, like tomorrow we take off for New York for 2 days. Then I got 2 days in Georgia. Then next week we go to Milwaukee. Then we head to the West Coast. We've been in Paris. I've been in Canada 5 times. It's multiple events every single week, and then on top of promoting our own professional wrestling reality show and our podcast. So it's we're not only full scale, full time pro wrestlers still, but full time entrepreneurs as well. And it's been a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, a lot of challenge to it, and figuring out how to make it all work has been a lot more fun and a lot more fulfilling than what I've been doing for the last couple of years, to say the least.
Excellent. Talk about that because there is about balance. I mean, was messaging you back and forth, and I was saying I was at my quote unquote shoot job
Yeah.
today, and it's balancing that together. You've kind of got two or three avenues you've got to balance. Is it a case of not enough hours in the day and just trying to limit what you do, or is it a case of prioritizing one over the other?
It's just every day and every week is a new way to try to figure out the schedule between, I have kids in the range of 18 years old to 1 year old. um, there are 4 children running around here. Like I said, we have our own wrestling promotion. Now we have our own television show, which is available on Roku. I believe you guys can see it over there. The channel's STGN49. It's also available on Triller Plus. Talking Shop presents Lariato Pro Wrestling. It's a reality-based pro wrestling show. We give you a look behind the curtain at how we produce it, and we're out here and we're producing these events and producing this live wrestling television. And then, Thursday nights is the lead in. It's every other week. It's bi-weekly. Thursday nights is the lead in with our Talking Shop podcast. Of course, my tag team partner, business partner, best friend, road partner, Machine Gun Karl Anderson, and I together as always on all of these projects. And yeah, we've just been working together and creating. We ran 2 shows this past weekend. We just had our debut episode, not the Saturday that just passed, but the Saturday before. So we'll have a new episode airing this coming Saturday. So it's just it's busy, it's fun, and I feel fully engaged again, which is a nice thing.
It is. It certainly is. And in terms of producing, we're getting ready to produce our third wrestling show in a joint production with the UK
Yeah,
Independent. So we've done this for 3 years. So I don't, listen, I'm not going to say an expert at it. I've done 2 shows. We've sold them
sure.
out. We're getting on to the
That's
third next
beautiful.
month in September.
That means you need the Good Brothers as the tour rolls on. We're going everywhere. It's a beautiful thing.
Well, funnily enough, Luke, we do have a championship as well that is defended on these shows that we do. So hey, look,
I
if
love it.
calendars work, of course.
Yeah, the calendar is the only issue right now because it's full, which is a beautiful,
Mm.
beautiful problem to have. It's not a problem, but a lot of things, even more stuff rolls in, and you want to go do it, and it's like, how far out do I book us? Which it's nice to be wanted, and it's nice to get to travel around and see our fans in an intimate setting. We've been enjoying that a lot as well.
Yeah, indeed. It must, free agency nowadays as I said, is a big thing. As you say, it's the best thing probably in a lot of ways now. Talk to me about this reality promotion because for me, as I said, I've had a little bit of the dabble in it in the UK independent
Mhm.
scene. I know the ins and outs, and I know the politics that can go with booking certain bits
Yeah.
and pieces. But is there things that like you maybe? Oh, so you've worked for a big promotions, WWE, AEW, TNA. But is there still things that you didn't know that you needed to do?
Yeah, you're forever learning. I mean, I promoted my first wrestling show on my own in the beginning of 2011. It was live pro wrestling, and the main event was Raven versus Luke Gallows because he was a buddy of mine in Atlanta. I didn't know what I was doing, and it's evolved from there. And I had a company here called Wrestle America for several years that WWE told me to close down. So instead of closing it down, I ended up selling it because I have that rebellious nature. And then I had a wrestling dojo here for a while. In the way that my show's called Lariato Pro Wrestling, that's
Yeah,
the shows we promote here in the Southeast. That was just born out of I needed my students to work in front of a live audience. So the first show was in front of like 8 people. My son reminds me all the time. So for it to grow into what it is now, we had, Matt Hardy here last month and there were a
wicked.
thousand people and it was sold out and we're shooting it for TV and the content's going all these different places. But we thought like to stand out, we know you can't compete with the big wrestling companies. So let's give this reality element and let you see the actual struggle of, okay, so and so's flight's not here on time.
Mhm.
Okay, we have this production issue. Okay, the lighting rig went down. And then showing how you the comeuppance of how do we overcome that and what happens then, as you know, 9 times out of 10, the wrestling gods smile down and it all works out. But seeing the road to get there, I think is really interesting. And it's something that fans, especially on a level like this, where it's two guys you may know from TV, but we're
Mm.
putting on a new hat for you. And we're going out there and we're trying our hand at this. And there are mishaps and there are fails, but the success and hanging in there always makes it much greater. So it's a journey, man, and it's a lot of fun. It's like I'm going to wrestle tomorrow night. Well, I don't know when this will air, but Thursday, August 14th, for my buddy Bull James. He was an NXT guy, but
Oh
he's got a
yes.
promotion up in New York City. We're going to wrestle in Brooklyn tomorrow. But I was joking with him that it'll be fun to sit back and not have to do shit except wrestle a match, as opposed to worry about everything that comes into producing these matches. So it's also fun when we're out here on these weekends and we're going everywhere and we're whether it's Maple Leaf Pro in Canada or
Yeah.
Fourth Rope with our rapper buddies West Side Gun and Smoke Dizza, or the independent promoters around the world who are good brother friendly. It's a lot of fun to do that, and it's actually a lot less stressful. And people go, "Was it a pain to go from here to here to here?" And I'm like, "No, it's a pain to run 2 shows in a row and have to make sure everybody else gets there. That makes
Yeah.
you appreciate it when you don't have to do it that much more."
I would say that one of my not to say pet peeves we're promoting is like wrestlers that don't drive, and you wouldn't believe in the UK how many there actually are.
What do you
That
mean they don't drive? They don't drive a car?
no,
Well,
no
how the hell do they? How the fuck do they
transport.
get anywhere?
So some of them like but sort of coming together. It depends where they're coming from in the UK, obviously, but yeah, some of them just
Wow.
drive all together. Yeah, there's you wouldn't believe the amount of wrestlers that don't drive. It's
I mean, I understand the car load and saving money for independent guys and all that
mm,
stuff, but to not be able to drive at all is rather shocking. In this country, I would say it's absolutely crucial because if you
yeah.
want to work all the time, especially starting out. I mean, when I started out, a guy would call me and go, "Hey, I got $30 and it's 12 hours away, but you could be on a show with so and so may see you." Well, shit, here we go. You jump in the car
Yeah.
and you go. And there aren't a lot of people who want to just jump in and go with you, believe it or not. You have a lot less friends than you think when you're starting out like that for sure.
But yeah, that was an incredible one to hear that, and I agree with you. I wish you could have had they were filming the build up to our show that we're doing, Buckle Up in September.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That we've had that pull outs, and we've been to show. I mean, Ignite Wrestling's who we promote with, and
Yeah.
lighting and guys walk. The stage guy. Funny enough. He probably won't watch this. We had a stage guy, and he said, "I've worked for the WWE. I've done all this stuff for WWE," and
Sure.
he could barely switch a computer on. So
I mean,
like,
we literally I just did it Saturday night. My normal production guys were there Friday. They had something else to do on Saturday. It was a previous commitment. We understand that, but the replacement team that we brought in, I mean, they blew the power in the entire building before we could get started. They didn't know how to hook up sound, and I thought, how do you get paid for this when you have no clue how to do any of it? It's amazing. So yeah, I feel your pain on that, and that's the beauty of the show. Talking Shop presents Lariato Pro. Shameless plug. Um, you know, Triller TV, Triller Plus, STGN 49 on Roku. But you see the trials and tribulations of what we go through in doing these things. And another thing that's fun about it is we're showing how the talent is developed. And a big part, as you know, you're involved in the promoting side, is it's with anybody, myself included. It's you have to highlight somebody's strengths and you have to hide their weaknesses for the good of the show, for the good of the performance, for the good of the product going forward. So it's learning that. We got a young kid here named Chase Emery. He's been a lot of fun to work with. He's a collegiate standout Division 1 wrestler. I think he's a great pro wrestler, great young kid, up and coming, good looking kid. Doesn't have a lot of promo skills yet. So we,
Hmm.
we delve into that and show us kind of teaching him how to talk to the camera or for the camera and to the audience, because that's not a natural thing when you start out either. So it's a lot of fun doing stuff like that.
Being obviously you've had a lot of experience of doing that as well, promo skills wherever you've gone. Obviously,
Yeah.
WWE and everybody has done all of that. Is it kind of nowadays? How much of is social media just becoming a big thing where to people to sort of promote and to cut promos for this sort of? Would it be even just there? Then maybe even sending you like a video message of this promo and you analyzing that and saying you need to do this, you need to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. And that's another thing. I included myself when I just said that, but like, we went back to WWE, and it feels like Machine Gun said it best the other day. On the the technological side, sometimes it feels like we went to prison in 1950 and came out today, because you feel so far behind when you're not completely in tuned and engaged with that. Like, my kids are all TikTok all the time, and
Mm.
I make the joke on my TikTok because I'm terrible at it. Like, my TikTok doesn't suck, but it really does, because I'm learning TikTok now, so I'm a few years behind. So I like, that's the advantage these young guys are going to have, because you have more of your own platform now than we ever had in the past, which is something that you need to learn it and master it, obviously, like as I do as well,
Mm.
because now you don't have to have somebody make a commercial for you. You can make a commercial for yourself, and you can get eyes on yourself. And that's crucial for any kind of promotion, whether it be my wrestling promotion or a young upstart wrestler, to get out there and be seen by the bigger companies, the bigger places, and get new opportunities. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Funny enough, we got a wrestler coming on after this. That it's his first podcast. He wrestles at Exodus Pro Wrestling. He's goes by the name of Towel Boy, and
Cowboy. I like it.
yeah, he's the Caesar of Exodus Pro. And he he said that I've never done a podcast before. I was like,
Wow.
"Oh, okay, so you're going to get
Yeah.
introduced to some guys basically talking a foreign language to you, considering English and American. It's
Yeah,
similar, but
and
it's
yeah, it's interesting too. Not to cut you off, but UK, Europe in general, there are a lot of wrestling podcasts, obviously. And here, I mean, we have them at every single level. So that's one thing. Like, a lot of the guys I'm using who are a year or two into the business have probably done more podcasts than they've had matches. Now, some of these podcasts are so small, maybe only two people listened. I don't know, but it's another interesting animal, and part of the business, and something that you have to learn. But isn't this great practice for a promo? I mean, you and I are talking about the reality element here, but if I were Talboy, I think I'd come on in full Tal mode, see what happens.
We had a guy, we had another NWA wrestler called Alex Misery. I don't know
Okay.
if you know. If and you're probably sick of podcasts. You do loads of them, your own one anyway. And he come on in full character, and
It's different.
it is. I mean, I was talking to him, and I don't want to Paul was talking about pulling the curtain back too much. I was talking to
Yeah,
him prior to the podcast,
sure.
as we do, and we were just shooting the stuff and saying, right, okay, blah, blah, this is what we're going to talk about, yada yada yada. Hit the record button, and it was like somebody had flicked a switch his side, and he was bang. And I was just, when you just sort of sit there and think, shit, like, what is
Yeah,
going
yeah,
on? Like,
yeah,
but it was
yeah.
great because, for me, because I've done a few in character interviews, but a lot of them are outside of the wrestling character that they portray. This one was fully in, and I don't even know how to. If you know, like James Mitchell, he's one of James
Yeah,
Mitchell's
yeah, yeah,
guys.
yeah.
So
I got you. I
you can
got you.
kind of get where I'm going with that, right?
The
But it's
father,
great.
yes.
But it was a crazy thing. There's talking shop. While we've got you quickly. You started this
Absolutely.
off, I know, with Carl a while back. I used to watch it quite regularly. I still do, to be fair. It's just I do too many podcasts and I don't
Sure. No,
necessarily
I
watch
trust me. I get it.
going on. What advice? I mean, look, listen, I've been doing this for 3 years. Okay. And we've
Hmm.
had good success. Listen, we're TNA UK media. We've had some good big stars and like yourself and everybody else. But what advice would you give nowadays? Because podcasting now is just ridiculous. There's thousands of them. Maybe when you started, maybe not so as wider, but it is. What advice now would you give people starting podcasts?
I would say learn from the mistakes of talking shop, and I'll explain that in a second. But like, when we started, it was Cabana And then we started in a Japanese hotel room with the iPhone, which we still do sometimes, and need and hit and record and just talking about what we were doing. It was a bunch of guys that were bored in Japan that were just hanging out, and that was 12 years ago, 13 years ago, whatever it was. But my biggest regret about Talking Shop was it hit pretty incredible heights around like the I've been in WWE however many stints now, but the first time Karl and I went, when we got released that time, and we were hot at the time. We were coming out with Talking Shop Mania. We were doing all these things. We actually, not just in wrestling did we shoot to the top. We beat Conan O'Brien like on all podcast
Yeah.
forums. I think he was like 9 and we hit 8 when we were saying all kinds of crazy shit like you do. But the biggest mistake we made was not remaining consistent. And we've
Mm.
had to kind of pay for that sin now. We were able to bring it back at the end of this last WWE run, if you even want to call that a run, by kind of trying to run it up their ladder. And they finally said, yes, do it. Who knows what factors played into us not being there. But like I said, it is a blessing. But my regret was every time we would go back to a television company or a big company or whatever, we would kind of let it fall by the wayside.
Mm.
And when you do that, you're losing that core audience. Like you're building your audience now, you're 3 years strong. So if you want to continue to do this, I mean, the advice I have is don't be like Talking Shop and don't, if some other big opportunity comes, and it wasn't always like we wanted to just abandon them and go run and get money. We were told we weren't allowed to do it.
Mm.
And, you know, that sucks. And so now, we're in a place in life and financially and business wise and all that, thank goodness, where if we do get certain opportunities that we want to take, we don't have to let it go. Either it comes along with us or the good brothers aren't showing up because it is our baby and we need to raise it up right and we need to
Yeah.
stay consistent with that. We can't be I don't know, out of the picture parents or something if we're going to use that analogy. But I think just keeping your consistency, man, have good guests and be a good host and don't I was on one a month or two ago to promote the shows that we were running here in Georgia and the first set of actual like the TV tapings for what we're doing now. And they had me on and they were great. And they'd never had anybody like from TV on before. We were both on there. Karl and I were on
Mm.
there. They did a great interview. We did about 20 minutes. And then they said the next caller was some promoter from I don't know where that ran some small promotion, whatever. And I guess he called in and said that he was a friend of mine, but he lied and he came on the air and this thing's live and he just started insulting us and berating us. And then your first instinct is what you shouldn't do as we're trying to build a brand is to turn around and tell him to go fuck himself or whatever, which I didn't do that. So I was happy that I did not do that, but I would don't ever blindside the guests either. That's not cool.
No, I always try to, see talk beforehand, and if we're having
Yeah.
I had Shane Douglas on for like nearly 3 hours, and I'd set
Oh,
out.
Shane can talk, and he's a great talker. He's a fountain of information too.
He literally took me back. He could literally tell you, I don't know, where the rooms are, where the vending machine was, who was in there, what was they wearing.
That's crazy. Probably a
He,
fun interview.
it was great. It was two parts, but I based it out as this is part one's going to be
Yeah.
ECW, part two was strictly franchising. It was all about him kind of
Right.
thing. So it was, what you're saying is we always try here and be respectful to everyone.
Yeah.
No
I think
curveballs,
yeah, I think and 99% of them are. I
Mm,
think these guys were so young and so new to it and they were excited and they go, "Oh, he'll love this surprise." I'd never met the guy before in my life and we kind of went, like, what a great interview and what because it was just a regional one, but it was to promote where we were running the show and I go,
yeah.
"This asshole."
We
So,
couldn't have got our first like sort of guest from the States, and I don't think he could have got not say was Vince Russo.
okay.
Incredible.
Was it controversial? I like talking to Vince. I think he's great.
I always say this the same thing with everyone. Like, I don't care about because there's a lot of people like Russo and Cornette, even Bischoff to a degree that people
Yeah,
will say, they don't particularly like and whatever. With me, it's like it's the respect thing because no matter what they've done, and no matter whether and I don't agree or disagree
right.
with everything that they say, but it's the thing of like they have done this regardless. Russo was massively important in the Attitude Era. Bischoff took
Yes,
WCW to bring us the Attitude Era. It wouldn't have happened if that was.
wouldn't have
Jim
happened
Cornette
without it.
was so big in the 80s and still were there in the 90s, and he's still done it. So he's entitled to that opinion, regardless of
Right,
what you think is right or wrong. And I
right.
feel as if like people go about that the wrong way. It's like that's what they
Yeah,
believe in. That's it. so to
I,
speak.
I, I agree 100%. We've interviewed Russo and Bischoff both separately over the years, and I enjoyed both conversations. I have a great deal of respect for both of them. Cornette the same way. Um, but I always look at it in this business, and you're podcasting and promoting. You're in the business now too. Is you can't take someone else's experience with a particular character or performer and blend that into your own feelings because each one of these experiences is our own unique experience. So if everybody in the whole world hates Jim Cornette, but you have him on your podcast, then you bring him over to the UK and he does your show and he does great business for you, and he's a wonderful charm to work with. Well, then you can't take someone else's opinion about that because your experience was so positive. And I think that sometimes people get caught up in the, oh yeah, brother said he's an asshole. Well, he wasn't to me. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And that's what I have to base it off of. Like Bischoff, for example, everyone said watch Bischoff. He could not have been better to me during my first TNA run and championed for me to get a raise and a big push and to stay when I was leaving. So
mm,
like I have nothing but good things to say about Bischoff. And other
yeah.
people turn around and go, well, what the hell? Well, my experience, your experience, they're different experiences. That's what I have to go by, you know.
Yeah, exactly that. We've had very fortunate to have Eric on 3 times, and he's been amazing ever since. Look, I appreciate. Look, we're going to have to wrap up now because you know you're very busy. You've got another one coming up. So look, before we go, I want to say one thing. I would say the Gallows and Anderson NWA Crockett Cup 2026. That's the first thing. I'm gonna say. That's where I want to say. I'm a big
You
NWA fan.
never know. The Good Brothers will pop up anywhere and everywhere. It was almost, well, we'll talk about it another time.
Yeah, indeed. We'll see. Well, we'll talk about that another time for sure. But Luke, before we go, where can everyone find you? Talk a bit more. Where's the show going again? Talking Shop. Where can people buy your
Yep.
merch? What can you announce for
Talking
us?
Shop presents Lariato Pro Wrestling. It is on Triller Plus, behind the paywall, but in front of the paywall, the precursor of the podcast, our Talking Shop podcast, long running pro wrestling podcast, hosted by myself and Machine Gun Carl Anderson. All kinds of opinions, wrestling and non, guests and sometimes not. It's a wild ride. Check us out on Triller TV if you're connected to Roku in the UK. STGN49 is the channel to download. You can find us there. Talking Shop, Lariato Pro, man, and follow me on social media. _big LG. We're going everywhere, baby, and we hope to see all of you soon. And I do mean what I said when we're in the process of putting together UK appearances for the next year. We miss the UK, we miss the fans, and I want to do a full tour if we can make that work schedule wise. It would be great.
That would be incredible. There's a show here called Inside the Ropes. I don't know if you know it, but they do like talks. There's an evening with, for
Okay.
argument's sake.
Okay.
Guys should do that. I think that would be.
That would be
Incredible.
great. Yeah, we're
That'd
we're
be
we're
incredible.
down for all of it. We love it.
When hopefully, hey, and hopefully my championship will be there when you're around, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we can bring
I
you.
hope so. Again, Adam, thanks for having me on the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast, and I'll see you next time.
We'll see Luke next time. We'll see you next time as well. Until then, everybody, buckle down, stay safe. Good.